please. Okay, so the first topic of conversation is protecting community character. So for each one of these topics, I'm going to have basically an introductory comment and then a few questions. So the first introductory comment is the village is trying to obtain resident and business owner input to develop a sense of place that is uniquely Pinecrest along Pinecrest Parkway. The next two questions are about understanding resident and business owner desires about how the shape, look, feel, and quality of the village in the future. So that's the overall statement. So the first question is, in a few words, what do you want Pinecrest Parkway and its commercial properties to look and feel like in 20 years? So the Slido is now open, so input any comments that you might have.
I'm sorry, I've been using Slido successfully all evening, but I guess I'm still in the main room. I
see you, Roseanne.
Yeah, but I don't see the live interaction. I don't see the question here.
Okay.
Does everybody have the same problem?
Are we in breakout 4? Maybe that's it, because you have a prompt where you can select the room.
I'm trying again. Hang on. I'm trying again. I'm using a new QR code, seeing what happens.
At the top of the,
I'm in breakout 4. I got it.
you can change rooms.
I got it.
Breakout 4?
Good job.
Okay, so far we only have one comment. So, oh, there we go. Okay, does anyone else give 10 or 15 more seconds? Okay, with that, I will close out. Oh, a few people are still adding. Okay, I'll give you a few more seconds there. Okay, with that, we'll close this question. So this question was, what do you want Pinecrest Parkway to look and feel like? So there will be the next question. What would you discourage along Pinecrest Parkway and on these commercial properties? So what wouldn't you like to see?
Doug Kraft, did you get into this room? I placed you here, and if you're having issues or challenges, you can go ahead and type me in the chat and I can help you.
No, he's in the room. I see him.
Okay.
Are you watching the chat as well? Because I can't use this Slido either.
Yes, I see these comments. And again, if
Okay.
you're having that challenge, you
Thank
could
you.
type your comment here. Yes, we'll
Okay.
be able to save it.
Okay, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then Monica, if someone's having trouble using Slido and can't enter or chat or whatever, is there a specific email at the village that we could give people to send questions?
Yes, when we finish and we go back into the main room, there'll be an email address and I'll type that in the chat right now as well.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, just in case anyone has problems, and as I stated previously, you're welcome to email the village, but it will be great to have that email, handy.
Monica, for the next meeting, perhaps you should have an in-person option, because my mother keeps texting me that she's not able to participate and she's really frustrated.
Yes, I understand. What we're gonna do, and I think they'll announce that also, is we're gonna send everybody who registered a follow-up email with the questions. And that way it gives everybody an opportunity to reply as well.
Okay, I appreciate that. She's on an iPad.
Yes, yeah, I understand. And sometimes if she opens up like on the iPad, it could be another browser, like on the Safari, and type in as if she was gonna go search on Google or something. That would be the way to get into Slido. She just has to go to slido.com
No,
/
she's able. This is just weird. She uses Zoom all the time for different things, and this, for some reason, this particular Zoom isn't working for her.
Oh. And also she could, on her cell phone too, she could try to join through that way. So if she has her tablet up and then on her cell phone, she'll be able to join by opening up the camera and scanning the code.
Yeah, no, she's able to get on Slido. She's just having audio issues for some reason. This
Yeah, that also, like in the section where you see your microphone, when you select a microphone or select a
Yeah,
speaker.
it says that this Zoom meeting isn't compatible with her, which is weird because she's on Zoom all the time.
Mm.
I have a question because I joined this meeting late because I couldn't get on. Was a poll question asked about where people in Pinecrest work? Like how far they have to travel to go to work?
No.
Not
That
specific.
should be a question. That would be a good question.
We'll
Okay.
Because
definitely
how
get
many
that.
people in Pinecrest currently use Metro Rail to go shopping or to go to work? That would be a good question as well. Like
They did ask the
what's
Metro
the current usage? What's the current usage for Pinecrest residents? I'm just curious.
They
And could
did
you
sort of
actually,
address-
so we don't forget, I mean, this is being recorded, but that's an excellent question. Could you put that in the chat? So it's then also, it's in two locations. Your question will be on the chat and then recorded. So it's not.
Well, it was rather addressed. I'm taking notes, and there was a question about how many people use like the rail or buses, and it was like under 10%.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised the county doesn't have that information. I bet it's less than 10%.
Well, I don't, from what I recollect, I mean, their ridership numbers, but it's not, I don't know how detailed it is. It may be by stop or something. And for the Metro Rail, same thing. Of course, there are ridership numbers, but you may go to the Civic Center to get on the train and you live in Pinecrest. So I don't know if they have that correlation. Like you live in Pinecrest, you go to the next station. So they would have boardings information for, as I said, Metro Rail or buses.
How many questions are we going to have? Because it seems like only 11 people have answered, and I really want us to make sure that we get through all of them.
Right. Now we have a couple. So what I want to do is I actually agree. I want to kind of move this along a bit. So there's another intro statement and two more questions. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Okay. So the intro question or comment for these next two questions is, the village is trying to define what will be encouraged and discouraged in the zoning code. With these questions, we seek to tease out what the residents or business owners would do if they were the architect or designer of future development along the Pinecrest Parkway. In this scenario, we want to learn what elements, features, amenities would they include or exclude from spaces they design. So the first question is, what design features would we encourage along the parkway? And I'll just throw out a few examples of what we mean by design features. It could be fountains, pergolas, additional landscaping,
Roundabouts.
roundabouts, swimming pools, whatever you want to say, just what design features would you, want to see in this area? So, and again, these are all open-ended questions.
I think
No right or wrong.
the reason it's difficult to answer this question, in my opinion, is that the land use development codes and the changes for the so-called mixed use, how can you answer what design features? I mean, if you don't want mixed use, it's already rated for commercial, so.
But I think it's more general. Don't focus on the mixed use per se. Focus on what do you want to see? Like pergolas, the fountains. Forget about the mixed use component right now. What other additional things would you like to see in any development? So again, this is very open-ended, no right or wrong answer. So.
Alex, if you showed us some pictures, we'd be able to have a better check on pictures. Over here, you're asking us to be creative in a way that we're not employed and working in this, that we've got these ideas just popping out of our head.
Correct.
Mhm.
Which is how they did the first vision plan in 2012. They had the residents there with ideas and big posters so that people could see it.
Right.
Oh,
So I was involved in the original. That's why I'm, here tonight. I helped. I was assisting with that document. As I said, in the original, and you're correct. We had some visuals. They were in my presentation tonight. But again, we're just trying to, I guess, get your off the cuff thoughts of what you want to see. That's why there are no no surveys, visual surveys as part of what we're doing now.
Yeah, but Alex, that's key, because the way that a lot of residents feel now is that this is just like a production to state on the record that input was requested. But if you really want the feedback, then the visuals are very important, because then you could really get people to answer what they like and what they don't like.
Right.
And so I think that this is really a disservice to an area that is, financially very expensive for people to come to live here. So, we feel that we should have an input here. But this doesn't look like a genuine, authentic presentation to get input.
Okay, I'll take that back.
That has to be conveyed. That has to be conveyed to them. And we asked them multiple times for a hybrid. And this is a way, people feel that this is a way to hide behind a screen because it's more difficult to look someone in the face when they say, no, we don't want this, or yeah, we like that. And this
Right.
is, it's very disappointing. I have to, and this is, I'm sure, tens of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars.
I
So-
have to second that. I can personally vouch for multiple people who did not even bother to participate tonight, not because they don't care, but because the whole online format, forget, they didn't even have any idea Slido would be here. It's too intimidating, but that doesn't mean that their opinion about what happens where they've lived all their life should not be heard.
Right, and that's why we're offering, send out these questions. I'm old school too. I would have jumped at the chance to be in front of you tonight instead of doing it this way. Trust
So
me,
who would-
it's so much easier.
I want to correct you
Alex,
there. This
yes,
is not about
Alex.
old school. This is
Right.
not
Yeah.
about old school.
This is about fair community representation.
Okay,
Correct.
please put
So-
these in email or chat, because we do need to move on.
Yes, the other
okay.
rooms are about done, and we unfortunately.
move on to the
we
next
are out of
question.
time.
So,
on to the next
okay.
Yes, let's move on, and we definitely are gonna take this back. There is the other planned meeting in November that we have,
10th.
and
It's
we
November
will,
10th.
we'll make notes. So the next question is, what design features should we discourage along the parkway? Alex, do you have any prompts or suggestions, ideas?
LED billboard signs is one thing comes to mind. Do you really want bright, big signage along that's a great one, more concrete. Things like that. What do we not want to see?
And Alex, all the other rooms are finished.
Okay, so I didn't get the memo that we were really shortening it. So,
Well, that needs to be stated to them as well, Alex, because I don't mean to bust your chops. I think you're really trying and you're putting your effort in, but it's a shame. It really is a shame. And then to feel rushed and the technical difficulties that people couldn't get on. There's something to be said when 200 people register and half are on. There's something wrong. Technically, there's probably a technical difficulty somewhere.
right. So
Let's just move on to the next question, because I really do want to have our answers
yeah,
recorded,
so-
because the large people in this group are part of our advocacy group.
right. So, okay, so we're going to move on to the next topic. Next slide, please. Economic sustainability. So the intro question to this one is, the village seeks to understand the type of uses that the residents would like to see along the corridor. The ultimate question being, what kind of uses would you and your family support in or to participate in along the corridor? So the first question, these are easy, and there are a couple more if you're on Slido on your phone or laptop. There are several others that don't show up. So I think there are about 10 or 11.
What kind of uses would you want to include in future development opportunities? Locally owned retail and commercial, live work units, artist lofts, urban green space, co-working spaces, luxury retail, fine dining, franchise and national retail establishments, personal services.
Forgot ice cream.
Offices. And if we missed anyone, go ahead and type that in the chat as well.
And that's actually the second question. If we miss something, question number 2 is add something.
So move on, if you can, to the next question.
So has everyone entered for question 1? We're still getting a little. Okay, so let's move on to the next. So if there was something missing that you think was missing, please enter it now.
Hi, it's Maria. I kind of feel that that these questions that we've had tonight is, although I can connect it to a Pinecrest vision, I feel a lot of the questions are going to be taken back to potential developers on what might be palatable to the residents. I think that in the comments that I've read, it looks like everybody is pretty much in unison that they don't want to see overdevelopment. They don't want to see mixed use to include residential. And this format has been a little bit frustrating because polls don't really address how a person, it's not as informative to you of how a Pinecrest resident really feels, because
Right.
it's a poll. So I kind of feel that this is these are all trick questions. You're going to go back to the investors or the developers already with something in mind. And I feel that zoning to allow for mixed use residential or open the door for high rises is a real problem for the future. And I just got to say that Cutler Bay hasn't been able to get any investors in their downtown vision. Neither has Palmetto Bay. Dadeland is downtown Dadeland is pretty much a flop. The whole layout has not been good. We've got already apartment buildings planned on the west side of the highway. So I really, really hope that the message that I'm getting from the chats that I've read is that people don't want this to be density. I just don't think it's going to work. I think it's a pipe dream to think we're going to get anything luxury here. We're not Bal Harbor. We don't call tourists.
How many more questions, Alex?
Okay, we have a bunch of questions, so
Yeah, we
yeah, I'm
have to
sorry to
move
cut
to
you
the
off,
next
but again,
question.
you know, I get your point. So again, it's recorded. So the next intro comment is understanding that development is a sensitive subject for our community, which we've been talking about. The village wants to understand the circumstances that our residents could support growth and development, if any. Would any of the statements below apply to your thoughts about growth and development?
Alex,
Yes.
I just want to make a couple of comments.
Okay.
Everybody else has done so I feel it's important. At the very beginning of this meeting, Mayor Cordino made a statement that we will have what we want to have. I haven't received any guarantees of that. I don't see that in writing, and I don't know that that's going to be the case. This is turning out to be very much whatever everybody else stated it was going to be, and that this is a research tool to get the county, to get us to say to the county, well, we'll have residential units there. It's obvious that nobody wants residential units there. And then I got a whole lot of things. Where are the pay-fors in this? What is there going to be eminent domain use? Is this going to be owned by the developers? It's going to be owned by Pinecrest? There's a ton of questions. And the other thing that's very important here, I don't want to see any residential for one simple reason. I don't want to see any more crowding. That's why I said over bridges, over US 1. It's hard enough to get downtown if you're not taking the Metro Rail. And some of the things are not the Metro Rail is not convenient for everything. So these are some of the things that I'm thinking about. I appreciate your time. You're doing a good job, by the way. But yeah, I like the discussion type of thing better than this. Okay.
Right. Okay. I mean,
Next question,
Yeah,
Alex.
move on to
the
the next question. Still talk. You can still talk. We can read the question.
right.
I second what you said, and I second what Maria said. And if anybody wants to do what I did, I wrote a letter to the village manager stressing that I was not in favor of this type of format. I went in there, I hand delivered the letter, and I also had a meeting with her for 2 hours. So I guess that's the best way. And Alex, we really don't care about these questions. We really don't care about these questions. That's basically what everybody is letting you know. These questions are not for our benefit. They're for your benefit.
Right. That's
it's
exactly
a
right,
point for the
Alex. And that's what you need
developer.
to take back to them, and you need to have it recorded, and we'll keep
That's-
going
that's
to the
what-
next
This
question.
meeting is being
Get it, but-
recorded. We thank you very much for your input. We're gonna get, everybody had the same questions. And for purposes of everybody going through the questions, you can answer them. You don't have to answer them. We completely.
Just go to the next
understand.
question, please.
So we're
Just
going
go
to the next question and we're gonna get through all of them until we finish. So thank you
Right.
all for
So
your cooperation.
okay, the next one is a oriented development topic. So the intro question or comment to this, for this series of questions, and there are 4. The SMART plan creates an opportunity for new housing types linked to transit along the corridor. The village would like feedback from the community to determine if and/or where along the parkway that mixed-use development, which would include the housing component, would be appropriate in their eyes. First question.
None.
Okay,
okay.
so if you could please hold all your
yeah,
comments so we can get
so-
through, we really appreciate that. Thank
Right,
you.
so we have the first question. Would any of these apply?
I don't
And-
want this, I'm sorry.
Don't
but it
answer
doesn't
it.
Say no mixed use. You don't have that option.
There's
Well,
a
but
question,
then-
a follow-up question to add that if you need. So
Right,
do
so-
any of the words below apply to your vision for transit-oriented development for transit hub areas? So you can
No.
respond.
No.
If you do not want to reply, you
Right.
don't have to. You could respond in the chat and the next question will allow you to write things that are missing from this list.
Correct. So if you disagree with any of this stuff, then in question 2, you'll be able to say no, no. So, okay, so if everyone's done with this, we'll go on to question 2, which
Two
is,
people answered, just for the record, because I know we're being recorded. 2 people in the whole breakout room answered these questions.
Yeah, it should say.
Let's go to
no
the
mixed
next one, Alex. You're doing good.
Yeah, you're doing a
Um,
great job. Sorry, you have to put up with that. Sorry.
no, it's fine, it's fine. That's, that's why I'm
Maria,
here.
next question, please.
So the next question, if nothing was representative of what your thought is, please put it here.
In the meantime that the people are actually answering this, I'm an architect and I've been involved in more than 50 charrettes. And this is the first time that I'm doing in this format. But what I wanted to say is that there's no way to discuss anything or share anything here. It's basically we are filling a form, okay, in a way that we can control. Nobody can share anything, okay, different points. So I think that is one of the outcomes that I believe that the village of Pinecrest should take into serious consideration, should be the possibility to do this in person, okay, with an open to public presentation and
Right.
people sharing
So-
everyone.
Agree with the gentleman.
Okay, so we'll discuss this in-house for the November 10th meeting and see if something could happen, besides just the results. So, okay, we're going to
Next
move on to the next series of questions, and the intro question or comment is, assuming that development on the parkway takes place, what are the issues that rise to a level of concern?
Many of the statements below apply to your concerns about transit-oriented development at transit hubs. Too much traffic, I do not want population growth.
Mr. Schwartz.
Okay, so has everyone who's answered in this question, so we could move on? And so the next question is just the open-ended one. If something was not represented, not representing your thought, you could fill in here. Okay. Okay, if no one's answering, I mean, I think the
No,
first.
just some of us are typing.
Oh, there they go. Okay, I thought I heard typing, so just.
No, Alex, once again, this is a solution looking for a problem.
Yes.
That this has been going on since Metro Rail was installed. And I must say that this is just a continuation of what's happened since the beginning. So, and I, again, it was very difficult to type all that out. So it's like, forget it.
No.
But anyway, you're doing a good job. Please
Why
be
did
patient.
You're being
Okay,
recorded, so this is a good thing.
Yes, this is
Why
the
did they
last
take the
section.
question away?
This is the last section, and we're about to hop back into the main rooms. We have 2 questions here for diverse housing options. Alex, do you want to proceed, please?
So the intro comment for this one is the village is primarily comprised of single-family homes. This leaves limited options for the senior who would like to downsize their home but remain in the village, or conversely, the young professional that would like to start their adult lives in the village and grow their family in the community. Mixed-use development on the corridor may provide housing options for these residents. The village would like to understand community feelings about this issue. So the first question is dealing with the lack of housing options for young professionals and family. Do you find this important or not important?
They build 500 square foot apartments. It's just, it's an insult.
Yeah, 500 to 800 square foot apartments that are going to be at 20 apartments per acre. So Home Depot's gonna have 500 apartments there. And the only way that they can economically have this done is to have more than 4 stories, more than 5 stories, to be able to have the land divided up by the square footage that's being added vertically.
Young,
Okay.
and young professionals aren't going to live in a 500 square foot
Right.
apartment facing US 1.
Mm-mm.
No, correct.
Right.
the
I mean,
last
that's another
question-
subject of conversation, the size of the apartments, but
Well,
again.
we're adding it. We're adding it.
We're adding it.
Okay.
It's
So-
ridiculous. And this is another one of those questions that I know this is going back to the developer. This isn't what Pinecrest residents want. We have to figure this out on our own. This is, honestly, I mean, I appreciate the effort. You're amazing. Your presentation is amazing. But these questions, there's a lot missing. It doesn't fully represent what the community wants. This is geared towards the developers.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not offended I'm not offended at the village. I'm offended at these questions.
I would
I'm
think that-
offended, Maria, I'm
Aging
offended.
seniors
I'm
don't
offended
downsize
with
in
the
our
village.
community.
I'm
Alex,
familiar.
aging seniors do not downsize in our community. Our community it brings families that want to raise children here and have a semi-rural lifestyle. When we're ready to downsize, we move.
Right,
We
outside
move
the community.
because we do not want a property that size. We do not want to go to an apartment. People here are affluent and they have other properties that they go to, smaller properties, and they're
Right.
used to a semi-rural lifestyle. They're not going to go to a condo. They don't.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you, Laura.
so-
I agree.
Okay, so then, let's the last question, because we really need to finish up.
ahead.
The last question is dealing with seniors.
Yeah, this
Is
one
this-
has been here for a little bit. And
We already
I think
answered it.
everybody replied.
That's the
Okay.
comments we gave you.
Okay, so everyone has answered this question.
Yes,
None of us.
so.
Okay.
we're-
So, okay, thank you very much. It was great input. I'm glad it's all recorded because I can't write that fast, but again, any chats, anything in the chat or any emails are appreciated. And then, as I will say, we're coming back on the 10th. So with that, I'm going to ask Monica or Maria to switch everyone back to the main room.
One question before we can leave, because I was one of the ones who were struggling to get in. I spent almost an hour trying to get in, okay, and I finally did, and I missed the first hour. So where are you going to put this record?
Okay.
The recording, because I really
Right.
would like to have a look on the first
So
part.
let's go back to the main room, and Monica could jump
Yes.
in and ask the question.
Exactly. We'll
Answer.
discuss all that and what's happening and next steps and where you can find the presentation. So
Yep.
I'm going to close rooms. You can simply leave room by clicking the blue button.
Great, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, but I don't want to, we go back to the main room?
Yes.
Yeah.
do-
I can't hear anyone.
So
We're
we
here.
are back in the main room, and I will turn it over to Renee so that she can close. Renee, also our group was asking about where they could find the website, the presentation for those who weren't able to log in early on. If you could please share that as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Are we going to be able to launch those last those last 3 slides, please, Monica?
Yes, I'm uploading those now, Renee.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Excuse me, where are you uploading this?
You're muted, Renee.
Sorry, I was just asking everyone to please mute their, ensure that you're muting your computers as we come in. Okay. Thank you so much. As we all, and Monica, has everyone been transitioned from breakout rooms into the main room?
Yes.
Okay. Thank everyone. I want to thank everyone so much for staying with us this evening and giving us your input and listening so intently to the presentations. I want to remind everyone, this is just the first step in a 4-step process. We're gaining community input. This is the first of 2 conversations. In order to make this happen, there's going to be a lot more discussion, a lot of data, a lot of planning, and many more community conversations before ultimately that zoning and land use plan is developed. Next slide, please. We are going to be having our next meeting on Wednesday, November 10th at 6 p.m. At that meeting, we will have a discussion of the survey results. So you'll get to hear and see what all of your neighbors felt about the questions in which we were asked. We'll talk some more about our redevelopment alternatives and flesh out some of the questions in order to refine our vision for the corridor. Most importantly, I want to share with everyone that, again, if you had any challenges with accessing Slido, the village will be emailing a link to the Slido questions so that you could do that on your own time, at your own pace. And we also will be sending all of the questions embedded within an email so that if you cannot access Slido for whatever reason, you'll be able to respond to those questions via email. We will have a recording of this meeting and all of the breakout sessions available on the city's website for you to view. I think you need to just give us a few days in order to download that and get that in a format that is easily accessible. But within a few days, that will be launched on the city's website for you to view and to go back over the information. I know it was a lot that we discussed, and I know that some of our residents had a challenge when we had our glitch in the first 10 minutes of our discussions today. So for any of you, we again apologize for that, but we'll have the recordings of this meeting available on our website so that you can take a look at that and see the portion of the presentation that you might have missed. Again, any questions that you have, post them in the chat. Anything that you will need, we're here to answer any questions that you will have. And I want to again thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate all of the interaction that you have had with us. And with that, I am going to close out tonight's discussion and tell you thank you so much for participating with us. Thank you.
Renee,
Yes.
I saw one question on the chat queue. It's that in breakout room number 4,
Yes.
there were a huge number of concerned citizens of Pinecrest group, and that was that intentional?
No, everything is random. We didn't self-select anything. The computer self-selected, selected everyone at random to be pushed into the rooms.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
So with that, that concludes our meeting. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks. Good night.
Night.